First, let's pay homage to our lineage gurus. Reverend Liao Ming and His Eminence Saka Jangkong and the 16th Kamapa and Guru Tupten Daji. They are the 4 gurus of our guru. And let's pay homage to the 3 jewels at the shrine and the deity for this Dharma ceremony, Mahabala Haruka, Shimu, and Rinpoche Danchen Chaka, and all masters, and also Master Bill Anderson from the Japanese esoteric Buddhism. Reference, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and all the leaders of local chapters, of everyone here, and the students who are watching across on the internet. Welcome. And today we're the list of our honored guests are Mr. Ao, Our Grandmaster is reading the names of the notable business leaders in the community. And so, and also Grandmaster is reading names of they are all doctors, PhDs, and they are members of the engineering societies. And also Ambassador Daniel Liao's wife, Dharma's sister Judy, and and also Master Len Yue. The master is in charge of a TV program to disseminate the Buddha Dharma in Taiwan. And attorney Jennifer Chow, who is a legal advisor of the True Buddha Foundation. And Dharma sister Xu Yaxi, she's also producing a TV program in Taiwan. And Ms. Wu, she a representative of a city councilor from Taiwan. And the Dharma brother, Ming Lu Kao, and his wife. This is a master from Japanese esoteric sect, Shingon sect, which is esoteric Buddhism in Japan. The Shingon sect. They both are masters in the Shingon sect. From Takayama, Mount Takayama in Japan. Good afternoon. Greetings to everyone. This is a very remarkable and rare opportunity to be here today, because Master said he's visiting again Sacramento City in Northern California, and to conduct this Dharma ceremony in the Sacramento True Buddha Temple. Grandmaster kind of jokingly said that all the many students of Tributo School in Northern California have recently suffered some setback due to a local chapter in Northern California committing many transgressions. But Grandmaster said we have to take things as they come, because many times we adopt the attitude of immovability, and we don't really react before something happens. We wait until something happens, then of course then we have to take action to respond to it. So as a practitioner, we should, when you have reached liberation, things in the world, we adopt a aloof kind of relaxed attitude. But today's ceremony is very remarkable, especially remarkable because Mahabala Haruka descended to the shrine. And when you have a Buddha, Bodhisattva really descends upon your invocation, you can feel very high. You feel very high with great lot of energy. So Grandmaster says he feels very high-spirited. This Mahabala Haruka deity is an exclusive deity to true Buddha school. That means no other Buddha schools really have this deity. In Tibetan Buddhism, they have deities such as Mahakala. In Japan, they also revere Mahakala. In Japan, they revere 7 world gods, and one of them is actually a Mahakala manifestation. And their form, the Japanese form of Mahakala, is a very kind-looking being, but unlike the Tibetan wrathful deities. Well, the Tibetan and the Japanese, they have Mahakala, but we have Mahabala, only differ by 1 syllable. And Tibetans regard Mahakala and Mahabala as 2 brothers. But our schools, Mahabala Haruka, they have some differences. First, actually, our Mahabala deity, so personal deity, is Amitabha Buddha. So this Buddha, his head sitting upon his head is Amitabha Buddha, and his first right hand holds a staff, a stick, and his second hand holds a whisker. And this deity is actually a manifestation of from three high beings. The first is Amitabha. The second is the earth store or Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. When our Guru, before he was born into the world, Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva told him that when you come to this world, you need some protector to help you. So Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva has 6 attendants, and he gave one of the attendants to Grandmaster to help him. So his Grandmaster said on his right thumb, there's actually image of the great power, great strength Ghost King. It's very clear that there's a sign there that has the face of the great king. If you look closely, you can see there's a face with the eyes, nose, and mouth. With very big mouth there. It shows a face. So during Grandmaster's life, when he comes across the most dangerous or calamitous event, this Great Ghost King would Great Strength Ghost King would manifest to help him to overcome that disaster. So this Mahabala is a merging of Amitabha, Siddhigarbha, and Padma Kumara. Earlier, when Grandmaster walked around the outside temple, his spiritual eye saw converging of multitudes of this spirit being, the evil ghost. But after this Dharma ceremony, they all recede and ran away now because of the descending of Mahabala. If they can run away, they all perish. In fact, if you have spiritual eye, you will see there was a very ferocious battle that just took place. So all these now, due to Mahabala's great power, Grandmaster said that all the ghosts were perished. When Mahabala descended into Grandmaster earlier during the Dharma ceremony, if you pay attention, you will see that the mudra that he performed are very different from the ones that he usually performed in ceremony, and the mudra that he played generated great power and purify, cleanse this Northern California district of those evil codes, because this is in reference to what Grandmaster said earlier, because there was a local chapter in Northern California who had deviated to the wrong path, and The Grandmaster, the Mahabala Dharma ceremony. It's very powerful and remarkable. And his descending, his generates such great power that invincible. And wipe away all the demons and evils in the spiritual realm. All the evil spirits are dispersed. And disperse and destroy all the evil ghosts. In life, whatever path you pick, you leave a trace behind. To put it, to describe it simply, so this local chapter in California, Northern California, and an ex-master of our school, one time during an auction, one person who's a leader of a local chapter in Taiwan, in the East Taiwan, this person during an auction and purchased an item that was during auction. When he went back to Taiwan, he got a telephone call from this ex-master. And he invited this ex-master to conduct a ceremony at his place. And after he invited this ex-master to his chapter, then this leader came down with great trouble. He was invited to another local chapter to conduct a ceremony in Guanshan, which is another place in Taiwan. And then after he went there to other Guanshan chapter to conduct the ceremony, then that local chapter also and these two leaders of those local chapters died suddenly after inviting this ex-master to their temple to conduct ceremonies. There's another chapter. And this local chapter's leader and his wife was persuaded by this ex-master to sell everything they own to join their cult. And the wife of this other leader, they lost everything and suffered a good health. So these are three examples from local chapters from Eastern Taiwan. Do you know this ex-master? Because she wants to keep her power, and she got in touch with the dark force, and she kept goals to help her So, and one of the first chapter to believe in this ex-master was from Falling local chapter in Taiwan. And this particular chapter, they believe in this ex-master and enshrine in their shrine a plaque to worship the ghost. And they all came down with mental illness. Grandmaster can do divine divination by using his fingers, can do some prediction or fact finding by communicating with a deity. So Grandmaster is inviting the thousand-armed, thousand-eyed Guan Yin to give him an answer whether all those incidents he just mentioned were caused by this ex-master's evil ways. And Guan Yin Bodhisattva's answers, 100% of them are due to this evil ways of the ex-master. So this ex-master always claimed that she can deliver souls to the Pure Land, but is it true? And one time, this ex-master told another master from Vancouver that he didn't have the deliverance power to help souls to go to the Pure Land. And she claims that she herself is 100% able to deliver souls. But we have to know that she is delivering souls to the lower realms, not to the upper realms. To be able to deliver souls to the Pure Land, of course, is more difficult. If you just deliver them, send them to hells or the lower realms, then it's easier. It's very tragic that these things happen. And this ex-master always pretended she's very compassionate and innocent, that it's always other people's fault. It's a shame that we have such an ex-master in our school, but we have to remember that something like that happened in history. Like in the Buddha Shakyamuni's time, Buddha has a disciple called Devadatta. Grandmaster will tell us a story. During the Buddha's time, Buddha Shakyamuni asked his student Ananda to go to visit the rebel student Devadatta in hell. So when Ananda traveled to hell, the gate, he said, I want to visit an Devadatta. And the gatekeeper asked him, which Devadatta are you looking for? So Ananda was very surprised. You mean there's more than one? So the gatekeeper said, because in all Buddhas, as long as they come to the world, there would be a Mara, which is demon or evil force, try to obstruct them. They would appear close to the Buddha when they come to the world. So Buddha Shakyamuni lived to 80 years old, but so Grandmaster said, so in his time, this on earth, there's also an evil demon. So which one would you choose? Would you choose this ex-master, or will you choose Grandmaster? So Grandmaster said, you have your free will. He doesn't want to force any of us. If you want to follow Devadatta, then go and follow her. But if you want to follow Grandmaster, then follow to find the right way to liberation. No one can force anyone to do anything. Remember that during the time when the Buddha was alive, many students chose to follow Devadatta instead of the Buddha. Why is that so? Because Devadatta would use many persuasive words to brainwash people. So in the modern language, it's brainwashing. So there are people following this ex-master, listening to her words, being brainwashed by her for 20, 30 years. In Tantra Yana Vajrayana teaching, we have to follow these three things. First is revere your guru. Do actual practice. Revere the guru. Treasure the Dharma. And do actual practice. So over the last 20 to 30 years, she has not honored the guru and revered the guru. She even predicted that Grandmaster would die this year, because she said Grandmaster would die when he's 73, and then everybody would go to her. But this is already not revering your guru. We have to remember that in an accomplished adept, there's no birth or no death. You have never been born and you have never died. That's the truth. If some person, like from morning till night, saying that her guru is going to die at age 73, Grandmaster has revered his own lineage gurus very much. He would never have said something like that about his own gurus. The four masters that Grandmasters invoked at the beginning of his Dharma teaching, they are masters from the four Tibetan lineages. And Grandmaster revered them very much. He would never, because when you say someone is going to die at a certain age, it's like you're cursing that person. And it's totally not paying homage or any reference for that person if you do that. Grandmaster said, have I ever asked you for any money? Grandmaster said, has never done that, because his own guru has instructed him, money is just a game. Money itself is neutral. We have to remember that if you have money, actually it brings you troubles. But if you don't have money, it brings you even greater troubles. Grandmaster himself has never fixed any price, asked anyone for any money. But this master, who is from San Francisco, she has been over the several decades, raising money from all around the world to build the biggest temple of True Buddha School. Someone once asked this master, "Why do you want to build such a big temple? Because you don't really have you have some monks and nuns following you, but you don't really, you have some followers, but not that many. Why do you need such a big temple?" And this ex-master said, "Because I already can see into the future that the foundation of a true Buddhist school would come to my temple, would move over here instead of staying in Seattle. And in the future, there will be 600 monks and nuns coming to stay with me." All these predictions she has made never really come to truth. Every time when she travels afar in her own temple, there is a temple in his there's a room in his temple that she worshipped the ghost. Every time when she travels to other part of the world to supposedly teach, she would sit in front of the gold shrine. And she would communicate with the ghost. So this is, how can she deny that she's not worshipping ghosts? She even gave all these ghost leaders names. Also, each of these 5 leaders of the ghosts that she's worshipping has names too. Grandmaster is asking one of the student who can give testimony, because in this gold temple, they even made some sculptures of these 5 ghost kings to worship. And this Dharma brother helped this ex-master to go to China to create the sculptures. He was the one responsible to go to China to have someone make the sculptures. That's the one in San Francisco's temple. But in Taiwan, this ex-master also has a base there, and she also has a temple there. There's 5 sculptures of the ghost. She asked one of the master's father, who's a wood is a carpenter, and this master's father, a carpenter, went to make those 5 sculptures. After he did that, he became possessed, and he acted very irascible, short-tempered, and he even got to the extreme of shaving his head to wear like a samurai hairstyle. So this he sported this Japanese samurai style, and became kind of like a mentally disturbed. So his whole life, he was normal, and after doing this task with this ex-master, then he became kind of like a little deranged. because this master went to Taiwan and he had collected all these ghosts of Japanese, because during the Japanese occupation of Taiwan, there are some ninjas staying in Taiwan. They acted as spies, and when their mission failed, they committed harakiri suicide by slicing cut open their own abdomen. So these ghosts were very vicious, and this ex-master went to Taiwan, and she collected all these ghosts. And so this master's father, after he became depossessed by the Japanese ghost, the ghost even asked this master's father to commit suicide by harakiri. So later on, when he came to see Grandmaster, and Grandmaster found out what happened to him and blessed him, and now he's okay. Okay, let's now not talk about that. Let's talk about what is Dharma of the Four Noble Truths. What is suffering, accumulation, suffering, the path, and if you think carefully about this, don't you find this human world full of suffering? The next of the Four Noble Truths is accumulation. What does accumulation mean? Because of all the karma in the world. So when you experience karma, it's because of all the causes, and you have effects, and all the causes you have gathered, created in the past, all come together and take effect. But when you take a walk on the righteous path, the correct path, to do practice, to do spiritual cultivation, so what kind of cultural spiritual cultivation is? Actually is to modulate your own mind. Why do we come into the world? It's because to pay our karma, because of the karmic transgressions we have committed from time immemorial. When to come to this lifetime is to actually try to cleanse our karma or repay what we have committed. So this accumulation, to accumulate all the causes, all the actions, all the things you have done, then in this lifetime, you have to practice well and cultivate your correct view, the correct mind, and walk the correct eightfold path that you have to walk on. The eight noble path, eight righteous path. The fourth of the noble truth is to extinct all these karma effect, to neutralize all of these karma. This is the first teaching by the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths. So you have to realize that this world is suffering, and then you gather up all the effect that caused by your past actions, and then do practice to extinguish all these karma. Then you can arrive at a certain fruition. And the first step stage that you would arrive at is the arhats of the Shravaka. And the next step is there's the Bodhisattva way. And then when you go further up to practice the Haruka pathway, in the Vajrayana or Tantrayana pathway, so in this universe, there are 4 kinds of awakenings. The first one is the solitary hearers, or the Shravakas or Arhats. The second is called the Bodhisattvas. These are beings who has awakened to the truth, and then they try to help other people to achieve awakening. So bodhisattvas who are beings who have awakened themselves and to help others to achieve awakening. So how about Buddhas? Buddhas are people who have achieved awakening and then put them into practice. They are Buddhas. So the first Shravaka beings, they only help interested in achieving awakening themselves. So this is the significance of practicing Buddhism, to reach those 3 stages. So earlier, they have now Grandmaster has very compassionately agreed to answer some of questions people have. But some of these are jokes they have submitted to Grandmaster. But I don't get that one. So somebody submitted a joke, because these actually Grandmaster has never seen these jokes, but usually somebody just submitted and he only read them during the Dharma ceremony. And this one, someone was a joke is what is different between an underwear and thong. So that paper says, the joke says, difference is with underwear, when you lift the underwear you see the buttock, but when you lift the thong you see the underwear. I guess I missed something in the joke, so I can't explain it. But Grandmaster says, so so Buddhism is not, but the Buddha Dharma sometimes is hidden. It's not easy to see from the outside. So Buddha Dharma is something that you have to discover within yourself. You have to cultivate the mind. So it's not something that you should focus on outside. If this, like this ex-master, she urged people to make donation to her temple. This is all to do with the outside material world. So you have to cultivate your mind, work with your mind to achieve enlightenment. Some people think that by building a big temple, they can achieve Buddhahood. But in the historical times in China, there's an emperor who had built many temples. This Emperor Wu, he thought he was very great by accumulated a lot of merit. The temples that he built was even more beautiful than palaces. But did he achieve enlightenment? When the Indian Zen master Bodhidharma went to China and met with this emperor asked Buddha, did I achieve enlightenment? Look how many beautiful temples and how many monks I have kept. Don't I have a great merit? The Bodhidharma said, no, there's no merit. So this emperor became very upset. He felt that he didn't have any faith, that this Zen master told him that he had no merit at all by doing all these things. This was during the North and Southern Dynasty. So do not think that by building big temples, you have accumulated a lot of merit. Because everything that you can see in this outer world, they are all illusory. Only what you have glimpsed with your mind into the truth is real. Here's another joke. A asked B, should I marry? B said, of course. A said, how many should I marry? B said, of course, 2. How come you said I should marry 2? Oh, this then B said, because if you have 2 wives, one to be married to, then one is wife, the others would be your missus. Does this joke have anything to do with Buddha Dharma? Yes. Let me ask you, have you helped to deliver any beings? How many people have you helped to deliver? 1 person? 2 people? 2 person? Or countless people? Because if you want to be Bodhisattva, you have to help many people. You have to turn over the light of the Buddha Dharma from your heart to another person. Doesn't mean you have to marry a lot of people, but you have to bring out the light on your heart and instill it into other people's heart. All these things that have happened because of this master, we just treat them that is a normal part of this samsara. This is the way the world is. The 16th Karmapa has said, I can give up anything of this world, but I must keep this light inside my heart. I can give everything, give even my body. I don't care about that, but the only thing I care about is the light in my heart. When the 16th Karmapa passed away, it was in Chicago. He had cancer and he was in a Christian hospital in Chicago before he passed away. Before he died, the only thing he said was, "All my students, you must watch over the light of your heart. When you always keep this light in your heart, that would be okay. Because when you always mindful of this light in your heart, that means you have a pure mind. Because if you don't have a pure mind, you can have light in your heart. If this ex-master, the way she did was always asking people for money, using all kinds of pretexts, and when someone who has this kind of mind to try to take away money from others, do you think she would have light or purity in her heart? So in this third joke, someone said, "I'm going to rob a bank, but I'm going to use this money to help other poor people." But so let me ask you, is this something good or bad? It's very hard to say if this is good or bad, because he's committing a robbery, but then he claimed that he's like Robin Hood, going to give money to poor people. Oh, this is what a student write during class, that his ambition, that's what he wants to do when he grows up. So his teacher wrote a comment. Well, this is not bad, but remember, when you grow up in a rob bank, don't forget give me, your teacher, to give me some money. But the teacher also said, but don't forget the student sitting next to you, his ambition is to become a policeman. So in this world, there always there's an old lady. She doesn't like to get up too early. She likes to stay in the bed long after she wakes up. So someone said to this old lady, "Unless you can make money just lying in bed, get up." Oh, this is his wife. So the husband said, and because his wife likes to stay in bed all day long, so her husband said, "Unless you can make money on bed, otherwise you need to get up." And she said, "Okay, starting tomorrow, I'll charge for staying in bed." So in this other joke, this is a person who has mental problem and thinks that he is a refrigerator himself. So the doctor told him that you are having some psychotic problem, hallucination. So so the doctor asked the wife, "Well, if your husband thinks it's a refrigerator, but does it affect you at all?" And the wife said, "Of course, when he sleeps, he opens his mouth, and then all the light from the refrigerator is bothering me so that I can't sleep." So both of them have problem. Both of them have psychosis. So Grandmaster asked, observe your guru carefully. Do you think your grandmaster has psychosis? If you think so, then leave grandmaster. But take a look at this ex-master. Doesn't she have a psychosis? You carefully observe. Open your eyes widely. Look at it. Use your wisdom to analyze it. If she has problem, you feel that, then you should leave her. Grandmaster is someone who reveres all Buddhas. And all the Buddhas. So the other ex-master is someone who reveres all the ghosts. She communicates with the ghost, and she secretly, stealthily put all these plaques for the ghosts in many of the chapters of our True Buddhist school. And the excuse she gave is because when she had slipped all these ghost plaques into other people's shrine, then that would help her to communicate better with the ghost realm, and when people come to ask her for help, maybe to solve problems, she'll be able to give them the right answers. So do you believe in Buddha? Then come to Grandmaster. Grandmaster doesn't want to force anyone, because you all have your free will. If you like to keep ghosts, then follow that ex-master. Because in this ex-master's temple, when they conduct ceremonies in their prayer or invocation, they invoke even these ghosts. And another joke. So then in a class, the teacher asked the students to go home and write a composition. Use the two words still and but. And when the teacher read one of the compositions, she was very mad, because what the student wrote was, "This teacher is still very ugly, even though she has already put on a lot of makeup." So the two words they need to use in the composition was still and even though. So this is a question submitted by a student. In one of the this ex-master has taught that during the fire offering, that the students should visualize themselves going into the fire, and that all the black chi escape from the body. It's and then all the students are supposed to visualize the family member the same thing. Is this correct? Grandmaster said, during each fire offering, when you enter in the fire, you should visualize yourself transforming into the deity for that ceremony. And then but after you transform into deity, then you transform, you merge in with the fire, and this fire would burn you completely away. So would there be black vapor chi? So Grandmaster said, so the proper way is to visualize you merging, become deity and merge with fire, and don't need to visualize about those black chi yet. The student was wondering, because during the ceremony, when we sign up our ancestors, and even when we sign up the attached spirits or family members. When we do that, would take over their karma? Grandmaster said, no, there's no problem when you do that. You will not take over their karma. Why this Grandmaster said answer this question? Because this ex-master has said that if you sign up your family members attached spirit or the ancestor, you would have to take over their karma. Why is it okay to do that? Because you're doing that of your compassion. You wanted to help them. So when you do these things out of compassion, they will not come and trouble you. So Grandmaster said, in our school, we'll have more than 100 master. Is it possible that ask each one of them to donate you 1 year of their life and make Grandmaster live to 200 years old? Would there such a thing be possible? Of course not. So don't worry about that taking that. Ask Grandmaster, what's the use of the ash after a fire offering? So you can use this ash as a protection for yourself. If you keep this ash in your house, it serves the purpose of purifying your house. You can even mix it with some water, filter and drink it, and it also purify your body. You can bury the ash around your house and also purify your house and form a boundary to protect us. So, but then of course you're not going to get a whole big heap of ash and just swallow it. That's not, of course, you're not supposed to do that. Just a tiny little bit. Maybe, of course, that to eat some of the ash, you just use a very, very minute bit of it. You know. Here's another question. So I have a friend who keeps goats. By doing that, is he going to affect people around him? Grandmaster, of course it will affect you, affect people around him. So this ex-master in San Francisco, many people get brainwashed by her. If you're able to realize that and sever relationship with her, that's of course very good. But there are still people who are still under her influence, will not come back. That's really a shame that some of these people were not awakened to the reality. But unfortunately, these people, by following her, would be negatively impacted because their energy would get stolen by these ghosts, and they would become poorer in health and lack of energy. Another question. If some of these ghosts she keeps are very vicious, what should we do? You have to visualize Grandmaster sitting above your head, shining light covering your whole body. When you have this light protecting you, you don't have to be afraid of the ghosts, and you keep your thoughts righteous and correct, then they cannot assault you. One student asked that she had left her master and she has come to Grandmaster to bless for many times a blessing. And why is it that she still feels the influence from her? And even though Grandmaster had taught us a visualization that if this ex-master's image appears in the mind, then visualize her head like dropped into a cesspool. But how come she still sometimes see her appearing again? Should I visualize Grandmaster sitting on my head, sitting above my head to bless me? So Grandmaster said, of course, already have a very good answer. If you have this negative thought, seeing her appearing, this is because you've been under her influence for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Even if you have a friend, an acquaintance, after many years, this acquaintance can still sometimes pop up. So and if someone you are close to see it all the time, it's unavoidable to not calling up their image on your mind. But you have to visualize Grandmaster shining light on you. This person asked, if you use the ash to purify your house, should you do it every day or once a week? So Grandmaster said, if you're going to do it once a day, do you have that much ash to spare? So maybe so it's too much if you do it once a day. So actually once every 3 months would be sufficient. Oh, another question. So after I do this purification of the house with my fire offering ash, what if I have like a friend who suddenly comes to my house? Would that person be affected? Grandmaster said, no, as long as you've done the ritual, that would be okay. And once the student said, in that ex-master's temple, many students have bought statues that have been blessed and consecrated by the ex-master. What to do? So Grandmaster said, it's possible that, actually very possible, it is true that Buddhist statues consecrated by this ex-master would have ghosts following that statue to that student's house. And from that day on, that student suffered from insomnia and even got to the point of auditory hallucination. And some, if there are instances where the student committed suicide. So this is the steps that would happen. You lose sleep, you cannot sleep, and then you feel being disturbed, and you this is because of this ex-master serving the ghost. So when you purchase or statues from her, after she consecrated statue, the ghosts go into that statue and goes to that person's home and cause all this wreckage. So if you have doubt about all these statues, whether they have problem, you can bring them to a grandmaster, to ask grandmaster to purify the statue for you. But if you can't do that, then you have to keep in mind that even the statues are just external, and you have to look at them as Buddha. When you have Buddha in your mind, and you look at the statues as the Buddhas, no, then you don't have to be afraid. This this person had a car accident and they suffered a great injury to the body. So, and he has a rosary bead, mala beads, in the car. So this person wonder if this has anything to do with this ex-master's mala beads, and wants grandmaster to bless. Grandmaster said he would bless this person and he will recover. So master said, doesn't need to worry because sometimes accident. There's so many accidents. Of course, not every car accident has to do with this ex-master. Of course, it's not always that the case. But because he had this rosary beads from this ex-master, but grandmaster said at this point, grandmaster suggests don't worry about that because it may or may not be. But as long as you have Buddha in your mind, and don't be so suspicious. You have to first believe in yourself. As a Buddhist, you have to believe in yourself. Believe in the Buddha and the teaching of the Buddha, and have faith in your own cultivation. As long as the lotus in your heart opens, when you see a manifestation of light in this lotus, you keep this light in your lotus, and you have bodhicitta and bear compassion, and also the right views and the right mind, then you don't need to be so suspicious. Have the right view, right thoughts, bodhicitta, and compassion. You would absolutely have light in your heart when you're able to do all those things. And by doing this, you don't need to worry what the cause is for the accident, because your goal is to reach Buddhahood. There are three very important things in Tantrayana practice. First one is renunciation. You must renounce all the illusory in the world. because everything in the world is just illusory. You need to renounce all these things, to give up all these things to go to the Pure Land or reach Buddhahood. The first is renunciation. So all these monks and nuns, they are renunciants. So most of the renunciants are monks and nuns. Only a very small group of people who are in the laity have generated the vows of renunciation. The outside world is not important. You need to leave samsara to reach liberation. The second thing is you must have bodhicitta. You must have compassion. What is bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is actually equal to the right view and compassion. When you add right view to compassion, that is bodhicitta. You want to help others to cut off their suffering. For example, you are happy, you want other people to be happy too. This is bodhicitta. When you have bodhicitta and this renunciation, the third is the middle way. You have to middle way view. In Sanskrit, that's Madhya Maka. And this is a teaching given by Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna has written some treatises. You must have this right view of the middle way. So it's renunciation, bodhicitta, and the middle way. When you practice three things, then you are a true Vajrayana practitioner, a Tantrayana practitioner. So if someone tells you to go and have abortion, like this ex-master has told people, she has also asked people to have divorces. All these are not correct views. So carefully think about this. So do you understand? So in Tantrayana, three important things are renunciation. You want to reach liberation, so you must renounce the samsara. You have to realize that samsara is just an illusion. Do not be confused or bound by these illusions. When you understand everything is illusory, then you would want to leave these illusions, and that's renunciation. We have to realize that good is illusion, bad is also illusion. Good or bad are both illusions, and you have to help people to realize this truth. Someone said, isn't building big temples a merit? Of course, it's good work, but where is the true temple? The true temple is inside your own body. Your body is the temple. So the greatest merit is to keep your own temple to reach the sky, the heaven. This ex-master even told people that the temple that she built can reach to sky. That's wrong. It's what is correct is actually your own body, your own temple can reach to the sky, not the external temple. So Grandma said, he cannot say this sacramental True Buddha temple can reach the sky. But the question is, those people who practice in this sacramental True Buddha temple, when they practice here, are they open to the mind? Are they able to open their mind to reach the sky, to reach the heaven? If they can do that, then that is the right way. So many people have taken pictures. Grandmaster, I've shown that when pictures Grandmaster, the pictures will show that there are many light coming from Grandmaster. So Grandmaster said, actually, he doesn't care about those pictures at all. You can even go and burn them all. What is important is the light within yourself, that when your heart lotus opens up, the light manifests, and this light reaches in communion, in union with the universal light, and you merge into this big universal light. So the true temple is actually in your heart, not outside of you. So this external temple, material temple, is just something that we borrow to do our practice. So if you build this temple, if you don't come to do true practice, then this loses its functions. So simply put, Grandmaster said this before, by building one more temple, it's like creating one more hell. Because if you build this temple to make money, then you are turning this temple into a hell. If you really use this temple to do practice, then would bring great meaning. So if you use money to build temple to just make more money, you are turning the temple into a realm of hell. You are creating hell for yourself. In Taiwan, there are many temples. And many monks and nuns, they fight over in that. When that happens, the temple becomes your path to hell. If you don't use the temple for proper practice, but use it to make money, and all these would pull you down to hell. Original Grandmaster was at the head of two temples. The first one was in Taiwan temple, but Grandmaster turned the temple over to another master. So that property of Taiwan temple is worth like 100 million, but but I don't know this is Taiwan dollars or US dollars, but Grandmaster completely gave it up, gave it to a master in Taiwan to run it. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it after it's built. And in the United States, we have a temple in Seattle, in the Redmond area. But Grandmaster said after he built a temple, he did not even become the abbot of the temple. He appointed someone. He also didn't want to run it or manage it or own it, because he said he wanted to manage the temple in his heart. So the temple in Redmond was, and the one in Rainbow Temple in North Bend, Washington, that was built by Grandmaster Shimu themselves. They didn't ask anybody for any money. Now that property is worth $6 million US dollars. So Grandmaster and Shimu used their own money to build that. At first, they had not they have not done any fundraising. It used to be the Rainbow Villa. Now it's the Rainbow Temple, and Grandmaster completely donated it out and gave it to Master Len Ying to take care of it. He doesn't want any of it now, because he knows. Of course, Master said he has some pocket money himself. So he's hidden it somewhere. But one day when he leaves this world, he will make a treasure hunting map and give it to Shimu to find this. But he realized that even this money, pocket money he had saved, is useless. In the future, he's given it to the next generation of Buddha school students to disseminate the Dharma, because money is useless when you leave this world. You must be able to become detached to all these material things if you want to become pure-minded. As soon as you still have attachment to any of these things, you would trapped in these 6 realms of transmigration. Only when you completely give up all these attachments will you be able to be reborn to the Pure Land. Om Mani Padme Hum. That concludes